There we go. Okay. So that is just our intro slide, and I'm going to keep on going and pass the verbal baton to Sue.
Good. So we just wanted to start with the question of what is occupational therapy. There's so many things that OTs do. We thought we'd give you a little bit of an idea of where our thinking starts from. As an occupational therapist, we primarily deal with function. So when you come to see us, we assess you physically, we assess cognition, emotion, and from there we see what strengths and limitations you may or may not have. And then we look at your environment, your social environment, your working environment, your physical environment. And from there we go to look at what you do in a day. So getting up, getting dressed, going to work, or volunteering, leisure activities. With all those things, especially with pain, you can most definitely lose abilities and lose function. So our idea is to look at a couple things, both how you do things. Can we change the way you do things to make it less painful and easier? And then can we also add any aids or adaptive devices, assistive devices to help you get through your day? So hopefully the next question, using an assistive device, will help reduce the pain, increase the energy that you have to allow you to manage your day better. Back to you, Linda.
Sorry, I was a little hurried there. And so because that is such a massive, massive topic, we've divided it into two categories here. So today we are going to go through bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, grooming and mobility tips, and then at the end of January we'll take on computer gardening, recreation, vehicles, and any other areas that we pick up from this webinar now. So to address our very first one, how did I get there so quickly? Okay. I just wanted to say for this webinar, we were thinking about our typical day. So we thought about how you get up in the morning, how you move to the bathroom, make yourself tea, get dressed, and then start moving. As OTs, we're very practical creatures. So here's our first poll, and we did get a lot of information on what people find the most challenging task around the home, but wondering if you can put your input on this poll right now.
What we found here is that 41% of answers were cleaning the bathtub, and then that was much more than any others. Vacuuming, and then kitchen chores, dishes, food preparation were tied for second place with 13% each. And I'm going to share these poll results with everybody here so you can see them yourself. So really it looks like cleaning the bathtub is far and away the most challenging, followed by vacuuming and kitchen chores.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Sue, we can just skip laundry and computer.
Everyone's good.
Everyone's good. Okay, so here we go on something that we didn't even add in there. Oh, but we did want to talk about this. Sue, do you want to talk?
About pacing?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Pacing is a really important part of the day, and unfortunately people in pain, or really people in general, we pace very naturally in the sense that we either go and go and go and go and go till we possibly can't move anymore. Our pain is so high or our body is so done that we stop. The other way to pace is to not do something until you feel well, and both these sort of ways, you know, sort of burning your bridges and then waiting, they lead to deconditioning or being less fit and less able then to manage your whole day. So the pacing is really looking at thinking of what you can do, what activities are really important to you, which ones do you need to get done, making sure they're prioritized, make sure they're spread out through the day, and you can manage those. You also want to look at, well, since pain isn't really a good indicator of when to either start or stop, you want to look at other ways to determine if what you're doing is too much for your body. Generally looking at your breath. Is your breath long, slow, smooth? And can you control that? Is one good way. If you're holding your breath when you're doing something, it's a sign you're anxious or stressed or it's too much for your body. Or if your breath is very, very short. The other thing you want to look at is muscle tension. Are you guarding your muscles? Is your jaw tense? Are your hands tight, too tight? Are your whole abdominal core way too engaged for what you're doing? If you can relax your muscles and relax your breath, it's a really good indication that you can manage what you're doing regardless of the pain level. Also want to look at routines. Linda, you've got some good stuff with routines. Do you want to talk about routines and time of day?
Yeah, we're really going to look at that at the very end because we've got that ideal day planned. But a lot of people here at the Jubilee will talk about finding a rhythm to your day so that it's not task completion that you're looking at, but a nice what to expect, rest activity, along with knowing what time of the day works for each task. It's really a pre-thought method, and it's an adaptable thing that's always changing for you.
Well, and we tend to really think about doing the same routine we've always had as a kid. And one of the questions I always ask people is, A, do you have to make your bed? If that's causing you pain first thing in the morning and getting the pain cycle going, do you have to do that? And if you do you have to do it first thing in the morning? Can that be something that's done well after you started your day? Can you come back to that? Can you close the door until you can get to that? So really rethinking the order of your routine and rethinking the value of the things that you're doing, especially if it's bringing you pain.
Yeah, and not referring to what you used to do and how it should be. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot today about lowering your standards. So one of our first slides here is the first area that we're going to talk about is starting your day. So starting your day means getting out of bed. And there's a lot of helpful things around the bedroom, including the height of the bed. The higher above knee level, the easier. And some of the positions that you would be in at night, and to say nothing of a sleep routine being hugely important in order to work with our rhythms of getting up and down. And yeah. So one of our first positions is lying on your back, where you would elevate your knees in order to let that lumbar or low back area of your body smooth out. The pillow, as soft as possible and coming right up to your shoulders, is a helpful way to support your curves that are naturally in your spine. Because we don't want you in the same position all night, or that's totally impossible, side lying is also with lengthwise pillows supporting all of those curves between the knees, between the arms, and just below the neck. And stomach lying is not a problem position, but it's often helpful to have a pillow below the pelvis and to smooth out that area between the shoulder blades. And those are 3 examples of positions that you may find helpful in the bed with the correct pillows.
And one thing too about when you're in your bed, you want to look at what your, especially if you have issues with your hands, numbness and tingling or pain in your hands or your upper extremities, you want to make sure you keep your hands in a nice straight position. So you've got your hands on either side of the pillow. A lot of people will curl their hands in, sleep, and find that they're waking up with numbness and tingling. Your shoulders in a nice widespread position and apart, and your hands sort of a nice neutral line with your hand will help to decrease the stress on the nerve and ideally decrease the numbness and the tingling that occurs.
Beautiful. These bed rails are the handiest little devices to give people something other than their side dresser to get up on in the morning. Definitely before you get up, do a few stretches. Think about rolling over to the side using the pelvis, that split foot stance to get up. And then a handy device that I just found is that little bed paddle underneath to help with making the bed. Good, Sue?
Yeah, that's all good.
And here's another example.
Sorry, Linda, I wanted to ask you, because we hear from a lot of people on our Facebook page when we were advertising or promoting this event, they were talking about how they can't afford assistive devices. So it looks like in the case of that last slide of that bed maker, that it might even be something that you could you know, use a kitchen spatula, or it doesn't look like it would need to be necessarily an expensive purchase.
Exactly. And remember that the Red Cross in everybody's area offers out things like that bed rail. And Sue and I were just talking about used Victoria. There is a lot of used medical equipment on that. So we are fans of Canadian Tire, making things yourself, and using your local Red Cross to trial equipment.
Wonderful. Thanks for mentioning that.
So Sue's demonstrating a leg assist, which again you can make on your own to help with getting your feet up and out of bed, and a floor-to-ceiling pole, which again is available through Red Cross. It's a really sturdy device that's able to go in lots of areas of your home.
The other ways, I mean, the leg assist too there was meant to sort of just as a cue. There's other ways you can actually, if it were to be my right leg that were difficult to lift up onto the bed, you can always hook your left foot underneath your right and use your left leg to help lift you up. That's one way. You can also use a towel, grab a long towel and put that under your foot just like the leg assist, and that can also help you. And quite honestly, it's a bit more functional than that one. That leg assist is too long for me. I have a hard time with that, but a towel, you can adjust your grip, put it around underneath the sole of your foot, and use that to help you lift a leg into bed if that's an issue.
Great.
And readjusting your furniture is often, you can use the bedside tables to help you.
So Sue and I like to hear a lot from our audience, and we put in some of these questions, but I'm looking at our time and thinking that we're at 11:20, and we might want to move on to bathroom and kitchen that's coming up next. But we do want people to kind of consider this in their own minds, because sometimes it really helps to look at your bedroom with fresh eyes. You want to make it a place that feels restful to you. Have your sleep strategies in place, because it's often that what to do at 3 a.m. when your eyes clamp onto that alarm clock. And the very, very best thing you can do is to really not play sleep catch-up, no matter what kind of a difficult night that you've had, to get your feet on the floor at the same time every morning. That's what we've got in our control. So we'll leave that and move on to bathroom just in interest. Or should we do this poll, Michael? Okay, Michael, I'm skipping you. Here we go. On to bathroom. There is all kinds of equipment for the bathroom, and it's especially helpful with all of your transfers to try and get things above knee level. So a lot of toilets now are universal design, and they're at a higher level. One of my favorite devices are those armrests for a toilet that just helps the person to stand. And constantly here we hear people struggling away in the bathtub, trying to rush their shower, when a bench would be a fabulous aid to be able to let that hot water really ease your muscles. So here's an example in this picture of a bath board that just pushes on either side of the tub. You just need to make sure that your ledges are wide enough to support it, but it's really a large thing that's going to be in the tub and can be removed for other members of your family. Clamp-on tub rail is my other favorite device that gives somebody a good secure handle and can go anywhere on the tub. And long-handled shower hose just makes all of this a whole lot easier.
And of course you'll have things like long-handled sponges, which are great, and they can be up to $15 to $20 to get those. But if you take any old scrubber and put either a loofah or put a face cloth and wrap that around, you can use that as a long-handled reacher as well. The other thing about the clamp-on tub rail or anything like that on your bath, if your toilet is very close to your bath, you can also have double duty. So have it close to your toilet so you can use it to stand up from the toilet, as well as helping to get you into the tub.
Yeah, it's all about safe, secure pivot points in the bathtub, especially where you're wet and soapy. So that, I guess this slide leads us to the question of how to clean the bathtub, which I've got to say is probably the #1 issue here for people. And our answers, and I don't know, Sue, you've got your own collection, but it's to clean it while you're in there. spray the tub with a spray-on that you can just leave and do the cleaning for you. Of course, find other people. And the long-handled mops that are available, Canadian Tire, lightweight, that you can just swish through the tub on your way out.
And this is a really difficult thing for a lot of people. I think of course, there's a lot of pride in how well we keep our house clean. So then you have to look at things. You have to look at, if you really can't clean the bathtub, if that's really going to set you off for the day, can you trade activities with someone? Can you bake them 7 loaves of bread if they will come once a month with a little toothbrush and get all in the corners? And in between that monthly visit from your friend who's cleaning, can you then use a long-handled mop and or the spray, the spray on and leave things to keep the bathroom at a level that you like? Because it is a really difficult thing, but if it's going to leave you in a flare-up or done for days, then that's really affecting your quality of life. So really try to be creative and think outside the box and have the ability to move forward with that.
Great idea. I don't know about the 7 loaves of bread, though, sir.
6? 7's too much?
7's too much.
What if it's raisin bread? Can you do 4?
Here's another an example of a bath bench that suits some tubs that have glass doors. So that might look a little bit more cumbersome, but it certainly provides the safety of being able to cross that bathtub lip. There's my very favorite toilet frame. They also come freestanding. Toothpaste squeezers, extendable mirror. And that seems to be really important, or I thought it was a good idea because a lot of people talk about shaving, brushing teeth as also being difficult issues.
And just before you move on, I love the toothpaste squeezer, especially if you're Scottish like I am and want to get every last bit out. But I don't actually have a toothpaste squeezer. What I have, I'm not sure if you can see it, where you can see it, is that helpful, is just a little clip. So this is a tiny one, but if you get a bigger one and roll it and squeeze it, it can really help get the toothpaste out. What I do.
That is exactly what we just saw. Really think of your daily self-nurturing routine as a way to get your day started. And yeah, we did know that #1 issue, washing out your tub. Know that you are not alone in struggling with that.
No.
And that we always, I think we're also talking about leave the ring, sometimes let things stay.
And the other thing with washing out the tub, if you have 2 scrubbers, one to sort of do your back, you could have a second one which is solely for doing the tub. So when you're in the tub, you can get down into the corners, or when you're sitting on the bath bench after the tub, everything's nice and wet, you can then use that second scrubber, which is just for the tub to do it then. It's a tough thing. We know it's a tough thing. And if anyone has any other ideas or things that work for them, we'd love to hear that up on the chat line there.
And we'll pass that on in the next webinar. I'm going to keep going and skip this poll as well because we're sort of at our halfway point, and we don't want to do short shrift to our housekeeping and kitchen that's coming up next. So having a look at your kitchen, looking at your counter height, your storage of all of your utensils that you use frequently. Again, this is another think outside the box. Frying pans getting stored in top drawers. Yeah. Frequently used coffee cups, leave them on the counter. And we've got some helpful tips as well that I'm sure that you're using. Jar openers, can openers, electric. And let's go through the slides and we'll have a little look. I don't even know about that slide, and I certainly wouldn't store my cereal up there, but reachers do help people to get to awkward things.
But if I could just point out, can you slip back for a second there to that one?
Sure.
Great. What I love about this picture is not just the cozy, fluffy thing that you're wearing with hearts all over. That's fantastic. But what I also love about it is the good posture. And I think we too often forget, when did we learn to reach up? When we were a kid. So what did we do? The whole shoulder and everything went up, and all of a sudden you've got neck pain and shoulder pain. If you're doing that, you want to really rethink if that's helpful, especially if you're the type with headaches or neck pain or arm pain. You want to really avoid that crunching and anything that's going to have pull or torque on your muscles. Linda's posture is excellent there. She's got her shoulder down. She has her arm turned this way to do that. So yeah, maybe not the cereal up there, but anything that you are reaching from up high, you do want to make sure you've got good posture.
So that elbow into the side, but I'd have to say those feet should be split. So a little bit of a split stance.
Yeah, the little bit more split, maybe a bend to the knee a touch, and I'm not sure about, you know, I would maybe have shoes or some socks that are a bit more sturdy. That floor looks very slippery. Not that I'm saying you did a fantastic job with your pictures, and perhaps you did that just so we could critique it a bit. It is really good. It also is really important, that whole idea about posture for low back, people with low back pain or leg issues when you're bending down, but we'll hit that later.
It's a great thing, especially that a reminder, posture, breathing, muscle awareness.
Yeah.
Pot tilters, didn't know anything about them. They seem to be such a helpful device.
Especially when something's hot, you can use that to help you've got a big pot of pasta. You can use it for pouring really anything. They are quite handy.
Kitchen trolleys, a lot of people talk about this. They talk about shopping carts as being a really supportive sort of postural awareness support to move things around in your kitchen. I would think our number one assisted device that people find here the most helpful would be stools, to alternate their positions, and certainly pacing when it comes to making food, and alternating what you're doing. So you're chopping carrots for a couple of minutes, then you stir the soup, then you make the cream sauce, and then back to those carrots. So alternating easy and difficult tasks. One more pot tilter with that fabulous stool, and even made more fabulous by having that footrest. So we're trying to get comfortable while we're doing our meal prep. And I think perhaps most important, enjoy some of our tasks around the home and thinking of our intentions of looking after ourselves and looking after our family. Enlarged grips, these kind of things you can get absolutely everywhere now, or use plumbing insulation around your favorite tools and be able to use your palms as opposed to your tiny wee joints at the end of your fingers.
And of course, that plumbing insulation, for those of you who might not know, think of that gray tube that you get, and it's usually got a line down it. You can put virtually anything in there. For those of you who have hockey players in your family, ice hockey, you know, to widen the grip, they twirl the tape, make a sort of a declining circle around any sort of grip, and then retape that for some comfort. So I mean, there's lots of thinking outside the box ways that we can get these enlarged grips to help us with this. And one of the things too.
Can I interrupt for 1 second, Susan? I wanted to convey a comment that I got here from one of our attendees asking what types of stores carry these types of adaptive aids. She's looked everywhere she can think for a jar opener, for example.
For jar openers, you can go to any medical supply store will have jar openers and electric jar openers, or you could just use like sailors use and get that kind of gripping surface to help with opening jars. So if you have an arthritis center in your area, they will have a demonstration of some of these things. And really, I've seen these kind of enlarged grips in Zellers and Target. So I think, again, with universal design, you're getting a little bit larger.
And I've just received a comment from one of our participants that on Amazon, you can order them and have them shipped to your house. I don't know if you're able to order online, but that's a good suggestion as well.
And other people comment, on IKEA and Lee Valley as being great online resources.
As well as home hardware, they have a lot of they can have a lot of those aspects as well. The marine stores are quite good, like Linda mentioned, for anything, and also the placemats for boats are very grippy. So if you have to stir anything, you want to put that on top of you want the bowl on top of that to help reduce slip and help reduce the tension that you're using with your hands.
And whenever I was thinking, it's other people with pain that have the absolute best ideas. So ask all of your support groups what they're using. I've learned about hockey sticks and the value of them in washing machines. So we're thinking household tasks, lightweight, long-handled, in large grips, pacing, alternating, and then with underlined an exclamation mark 10 times, don't tire yourself. Use 70% of your effort. Lower standards, develop a routine for the week of delegating, managing, and breaking up tasks.
And really think about what's going on in your life socially as well. If you have times where you hopefully are getting out to meet people or going to events, you want to really think the week ahead and go say, okay, well, if I'm going to go out on this Thursday night to the film festival, I really want to make sure that Thursday and Wednesday don't have a lot of heavy duty kind of stuff. I want to do that earlier in the week, or get someone to have help with that. And remember, again, with that 70% effort, really to make sure that you're focusing on your breath, you're focusing on that relaxing of the muscles. And if you find that you're tense or your breath is short or you're holding it, doesn't mean to stop necessarily, just means that your body's winding up a bit and you need to then sort of take a second, take a breather, take a rest, and even might be a bathroom break. It could be 30 seconds of just getting some deep breathing back before we keep going. We tend to push and push and push through to get the stuff done we need to get done, because maybe today's a good day and maybe tomorrow won't be. But if you can pace and can pay attention to your body in that way, it can help you get through with less pain and less effort.
And more satisfaction. That's so right. That's yeah.
Absolutely. I love, love, love this slide. I do. Linda, you are so smart. I love, you know, I wonder if people should actually do this. So she is not trying to be a fashionista. Well, sorry, perhaps she is, but what she's also done is to put tape on her arms and her knees. And so that is really where we can all say, oh, it should be, you know, 18 inches up from the floor, blah, blah, blah. But it's you, and every one of you are different. So where's your shoulders? Where are your knees? Your heavy things should be there. It seems very strange that you would put your heavy frying pans very, very close to the counter, but ideally that's where they're going to be, so you don't have the bending and the lifting unless you have excellent posture and no issues with that area. So really, really think outside the box and wonder, where can I put these? Anything that's light and can be up higher is great, because you can use a long-handled reacher to get that safely, provided it's safe and you're not storing knives up there. But yeah, I love that you want to have everything between your shoulder and your knee. So you might want to really walk around your house and figure, where are all my heavy things? Putting pots underneath the stove just doesn't, underneath the oven rather, just is a very difficult place to put them.
So I'm not going to lose the orange, because there it is again. So you're thinking of dishwashers and, like Sue says, everything brand new. I might do a load of dishes using my top rack only. I might just use the racks at my waistline in my fridge. I might store pots in the stove. I've heard it's a popular one. And here is numero uno. People's complaint about washing the dishes. And the easiest technique is to open those cupboard doors and use what bars use to make us comfortable, which is lifting a knee and opening up that low back and getting in nice and tight to the sink. Something else people talk about is making the depth of the sink a little bit more shallow by turning a plastic pot upside down so that you're washing in a shallower depth.
Of course, that's going to prevent reaching too far over. One of the other things to do while you have your knee bent like that, and really it's not just for washing dishes, I think it's on the slides earlier or later about having that up for anything you're doing, whether it's cooking dinner or doing laundry or anything, is looking at pivoting from your hips. So instead of having your back bend forward, you want to think of using your hips as a pivot point with your knee up to maintain that nice neutral lumbar spine so we're not putting any additional stress. And what Linda's also doing there is using her arms to support while we're in that stooped forward position, because that's a really tough position to hold for our back. And so using your arms as well to provide some resistance against gravity.
And to say nothing of delegation, it doesn't mean that you
Absolutely.
have to do these activities. So here's issue number 2 when we think about the polling is when we're put this together with vacuuming, because I didn't have a light upright vacuum. But usually what happens when we're vacuuming, sweeping, raking, is we are getting concerned about where the dirt is. And it's really where is your feet. So trying to maintain that posture and breathing and being upright while you move with the vacuum, the rake, or the broom.
This is a really tough one for a lot of people, and vibration in general is tough for a lot of people, not just with hand issues, but sort of anywhere. That vibration really throws our nervous system for a loop. So you can do a couple things with the vacuuming. Again, you want to maintain a good posture. You want to use your feet, as Linda was just saying. But with vacuuming, there are a few options. They do have the mops out now that have a very low level of vibration. Sorry, the vacuums that have a low level of vibration that can allow that. But there's other things. I mean, think about using anti-vibration gloves. Anti-vibration gloves can be as cheap as $15. So if vacuuming drives you nuts, or using the mixer in the kitchen, anything with vibration, throw on the anti-vibration gloves. You can find those at Home Hardware, Home Depot, likely any of the department stores, or Lee Valley. They can be as cheap as $15 or expensive as $300. So you can look for that kind of thing. And really think about, again, we do talk about reducing our expectations of how clean we want things to be, but really 80% of the dirt is on 20% of the floor. So really think about cleaning. If you clean that 20% of the floor, you're getting most of the dirt. So again, a lot of people with pain figure that out on their own, but you want to look at the corners, the edges, to get the most bang for your buck and doing the least amount of time in that task.
That's a good point, especially when people used to iron the drapes and move their furniture and vacuum behind there. It's such a relief that we can just clean the areas that mean the most to you in your house. Washer dryers. It's a knee bend. This is where the hockey stick comes in. Using stackable would get you in a better position. There's really not a lot of easy answers here. We did get some chat about how difficult it is to fold laundry. I think we talked stools and seated again. Any other ideas, Sue?
Yeah, it's I had kids so they could do my chores for me, so that's what I do. Really, again, maintain the posture. When you're going to bend down, like Linda's doing in that picture, you want to have your hand on the laundry and ideally even your hand on something else in there that's very sturdy or on one of the legs that's bending down. That will help to lift, give some support to the spine as you're bending down. You want to maintain good posture. You want to make sure your back is in a good position. We don't want that stooping or that bending forward or those awkward positions that we feel we can manage, but unfortunately they're using what we call accessory muscles, and these muscles aren't meant to do power things. So when we rely on those muscles, we then can cause a different level of exhaustion and pain. So really maintaining good posture and good technique. It is a tough one. You've got the tongs there, the barbecue tongs that you're using. That's an excellent thing. You mentioned the hockey stick to pull things out. Ideally raising up any washers or dryers if you can, or get the stackables to help with those things. Doing folding things, making sure that when you're putting things into the laundry, you've got a mix of things. So if towels generally are easier and quicker to fold than other things, you want to make sure you have some towels and some not. So you've got a wide range of things that you can do. Or for folding, hang more things if that's easier for you. Hang your shirts and your pants. If I don't happen to have the space in my closet, it's not that big, but if you do, there's lots of other options to that.
Right. Great. I'm going to skip through that because I think we've talked about that. I'm also going to think about.
I like this poll. I think this is going to be a good one because I'd like to see what people's thoughts are with some of the answers. I'm hoping I'd like to be pleasantly surprised. So the question, poll number 4, is housekeeping and kitchen stuff. So what techniques do you use for this? Do you prepare your dinner throughout the day? Do you use electric appliances? Do you delegate to family? Do you hire help? Oh, that would be nice. Do you slow down and enjoy tasks in a mindful fashion? So Michael, if we could get that one up.
Yeah, let's open that poll now. You should be able to reply. I see people are already making their selections, and we'll just give people a minute to register their choices and submit them. While we're waiting, we have received a few comments from people who are in such pain that they can't really bend, and they're wondering, well, what do you do, for example, with the drying of clothes if you can't bend? I guess the hanging clothes is an option. Any other ideas for people that have those mobility issues that prevent them from bending down?
Well, again, that's exactly right. The bending is an issue. So again, we talked about it in the kitchen, rethinking about where you're putting things. The same thing for your room. If you have a dresser that's an upright dresser, really rethink about where you put your clothes. You've done it the same probably since you were a kid, or maybe that's just me. But you know, if your pants are generally lower down, bring them higher up. Do you have to have the drawer of all the same stuff? Do you have to have a shirt drawer and a pants drawer? Or if you tend to wear the same types of clothes on a regular basis, can you not put sort of those clothes in the drawers as they are? So you have your pants, you have your shirt, and you have your socks and underwear, perhaps even sitting waiting, and a couple rows of those in the drawer to help you with that. And also, when we think about delegating chores, sometimes we think about delegating the whole thing. Maybe if you can get somebody else, if you happen to have another helpful hand in the house, to pull stuff out of the dryer. If you're able to fold, but the difficulty is getting it out of the dryer, then we want to look at having someone help with, even for that minute. A 3-year-old is very capable of pulling stuff out of the dryer. You also want to think about weight. We tend to think about pulling the entire load out and taking the entire load up. If mobility isn't an issue for you, but bending is, think about having a much lighter load. So you can still do a full load of laundry, use the tongs to pull it out and put it into your laundry basket, but have that laundry basket very, very light. And so then you can make maybe 3, maybe 4 trips to the dryer to get that out. It can be frustrating, but you can also think of it as getting a little bit more movement in your day, which most of us can benefit from.
The use of long-handled tools definitely helps your patients. So slowing down and doing it way smaller is a huge help for having to do things differently, which non-bending is.
Yeah, and there's long-handled reachers, long-handled shoe horns, lots of great stuff. I have seen some fantastic devices that my clients have brought in over years of things they've created. So we say you can go buy it here or there, but there's often things we can create to help with these things.
Right. Thanks for that. So we've received answers, and it seems like the most common strategies used for housekeeping and in the kitchen are preparing dinner throughout the day and slowing down and enjoying tasks more. Those two were tied at 17%, and then the next one was using electric appliances, delegating to family, and then the last one was hiring help. And I imagine the cost involved is part of that. So I'm just going to share the poll results with the attendees and hand it back to you, Sue.
Yeah, and interesting to me, a couple things. Delegating to family, that's so funny that we don't want to do that. If someone were to ask you, can you help me with this? And if it was something that you were able to do and not cause you pain, you would likely jump at the chance to help somebody. Yet we're so afraid or ashamed to have to ask for that help, but you yourself will probably ask for that in spades. And I like to slow down and enjoy. One example that I have for my life, I used to have a dryer that when it went off had that, you know, normal nasty sound, and I'm like, ah, the dryer's done, okay, now I have to do the folding. Well, I have one now that has this fantastic little charm. So when the dryer goes off, it goes doo 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 doo. And with my kids, I joke, oh my gosh, it's time to do laundry. And it's funny because now I still don't like folding so much. I know I have to, but that little laugh allows me to enjoy that even more. It's a funny thing how our mind can do that.
Meditation drying. Next category, that in your typical day, you are now getting up and getting dressed. And here again, it's that long-handled positions that are the most helpful. And again, adjusting what you're wearing. Make it easy. A lot of people don't know the beauty of sock aids, and these can be made out of a milk carton. And they are totally a different strategy on how to get that sock over your foot, and they work way better than you think they're going to. So I'd encourage you to make one, borrow somebody's, get them in a value village. They would save a lot of energy that you don't need to expend on getting your socks on. And hopefully you're all seated.
Yeah, especially with that axial or that low back pain that just sits there. Of course, any bending that you do is going to potentially aggravate it and bring that pain response on. So especially first thing in the morning, a lot of people with that type of pain wake up in more pain and movement's very difficult. You want to use these long-handled things to avoid any unnecessary bending.
Long-handled portable bidet, which is probably a fabulous and hygienic option to bizarre bending on toilets. One woman did ask us to.
What's that, sorry, Linda?
One woman did ask us about coffee and using commode, and I think maybe a bidet might be the answer, and I think they come pretty low cost right now, these portable ones. Yeah. I should be sitting down while I'm putting my long-handled shoes on here, but never the mind.
Yeah, well, you're just showing us what not to do, so we really appreciate that.
I actually think that's a little bit of a seat lifter at the arthritis center, so it's I am sitting down, but it looks like I'm not.
Yeah. The other thing you can do with the long-handled shoehorn, one great thing for shoes are, of course, elastic laces. So you have elastic laces in, you tie them up as normal, and then you can slip in and out of any shoe that you're wearing that has the lacing option. But you can also use a long-handled reacher on the laces to pull the tongue up as you use the long-handled shoehorn to slip your foot in. So lots of options for that.
This is the same kind of support. With shaving and toothbrushing, a lot of people complain that aggravates their pain, of course, with that angle of trying to get close to the mirror. So it's really a matter of keeping your chest back, front, split stance, front knee bent, and using that other arm as a bit of a pedestal to support your back. In which case you get toothpaste all the way down the front of your shirt. So some people brush their teeth in the shower.
Yeah, why not? It's a great idea. Better, good posture, and especially in the shower, if you can have those suction or the ones that hang from the shower, you've got everything at a nice level that you want to have accessibility. There's no stooping forward, and there's no bending down to get things out of drawers or up high out of the mirror cabinet. Maybe we'll just move on to mobility so that we can have a bigger chat at the end here. So here in the Jubilee, we are very keen on Nordic poles, and just sort of wanted to give a little bit of a chat about how they take the weight off your skeletal system and end up really being what we call postural cue machines. And that's kind of what happens when you're able to use Nordic poles, that you push through that a little bit of an enlarged grip right at your baby finger, which opens up the top of your chest and then gives you some support throughout your entire body. So, yeah. Sorry, Linda. Go ahead. No, it's the same thing in Nanaimo, and in fact, One thing, though, you might want to be surprised that they are a bit difficult at first to work. But just work through that because they are so beneficial. What they do essentially is you're putting weight through your arms and your legs, which allows your spine to be in a much better position posturally, but it also allows you to take not so much squishing of the discs, which a lot of people with pain have issues with their discs. So we want to, one, have good posture with this. Of course, we want to use more muscles in our body to help with this movement because then you're using your legs a lot less. And we also want to avoid any sort of, or we want to relieve the spine as much as we can with the walking. So they're excellent tools.
They really are, and we're trying to get people past the stigma because people will be shockingly surprised, and we hear this all the time, at how much further they can walk and how much less their pain is with, like you say, getting used to your poles and really mindful walking with them.
Now, unfortunately, with these, they are not cheap. They run anywhere from $80 to $100 on average. You do want to get good ones. If you are putting weight through the pole, you want to ensure that it has a weight number so you know how much, because they can only tolerate a certain different poles have different levels of weight that they can tolerate. So you want to make sure that you've got a good one. You also don't want to have one with straps on it. If there is a fall, that can add some injuries to the wrists and arms. So easy enough to cut them off or just not to use them.
Good. That's a good point because these aren't canes and they aren't cross-country ski poles. They are their own device. Now, we are finding them at Excess Cargo for $15 and also for $25. So just stay tuned with this because they were originally out at $70 and now I think they're coming down. And what you're looking for is that beautiful grip, and they seem to have it with the adjustability of the height.
And what's Excess Cargo? Is that like a store?
It's a funny little store that sells off in Victoria different extra stock that they get.
Okay, okay.
And they seem to have a really good inclination of what's going to sell well, and Nordic poles are going well.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Okay.
Yeah. So we've talked about upright posture, so I'm going to leave that one to go so that we can have a minute to have a look at what Sue and I feel fairly strongly about is this pacing, energy levels, and this is a day that was devised by one of our clients to give people an idea of what an ideal day looks like, because sometimes ideal day gets defined as how many things did I do, and really we want people to be paying attention to themselves, looking after themselves, and you will get more things done, and you will watch your energy level and your posture so much more.
And a couple things, too. It brings structure to the day. A lot of people with pain who aren't able to work anymore lose that structure to the day, and they tend to live in the moment and do what feels right in the moment. If you create structure to your day, you can then, like Linda said, you can add parts of the day. You can add the relaxation, you can add the movement, and hopefully some fun. It'd be great to have a bit of fun in your day every day if you can manage that. I'll let you go over the list, Linda.
Yeah, because to emphasize that fun, that's your calming your nervous system.
Yep.
So it is like an activity, calm the nervous system, calm the nervous system. So stretch before you get out of bed, breathe. Think about what you're having for breakfast so that it's kind of in your mind and your posture as you go about your activity. Then for your sleep cycles, get outside, get those lumens in your eyes and go for a short walk to invigorate the system and get yourself prepared for your next night's rest. Come back and rest as soon as you've done a vigorous activity. Small household tasks, then relaxation tape. That's as important as any job you're going to be doing during the day. A lot of people already mentioned they start their dinner in the morning. They feed themselves regularly. We need food for energy and especially for dealing with pain. Rest after that, 20 minutes. Again, it helps the sleep routine to have a kind of a wind down during the afternoon, early afternoon. Fun, like Sue mentioned. Again, chores come in there, but it's your baseline and what you're capable of 70% effort on your chores spread out through the week. Outdoors again, if you can't, think windows. Eat, spend time with your family, and definitely have more quiet, enjoyable time in the evening. Review what you've done for the day, and then plan again. Schedules and structure really help us to get accomplished the things we want to get accomplished, as opposed to depends on the pain.
And then we're also forward-looking. So we're not living in the moment where the pain is now. We're looking forward, and we're taking control of our day, which is such a great thing for people in pain, to get control back of their day instead of letting pain control their day. And this is a great day for this person, and maybe it'll work for a lot of you. Maybe it's a good place to start. But also know yourself. If you're the type of person that can't wait until 2 o'clock to do chores, and that's going to drive you crazy, then absolutely do it in the morning, making sure you still are having the rest times, the calming your mind, calming your body, quiet times as well in that. But I do really hope that you can find a way to get some more fun in your life, some more leisure, which could be taking up photography. It could be learning a new thing, like for me would be drawing. It could be something that doesn't have to be a movement or activity-based thing. Hopefully it would be a social thing, but something that can also, when you're learning things, you're also looking forward, and it gives you a little bit of a break from your pain every day.
It's so true. A lot of our clients here are using these things are using a daily planner because we make them. It's not something you're going to want to do, but what they're noticing is how much they are getting accomplished in a day, and where their kind of fuzzy points are, where they're, irritated, pains up, but they don't know why. So it gives people so many more answers if you start to keep track and keep journaling, and many more solutions to what's not happening for yourself. And this is another idea of one of our clients that's highlighted in that ideal day, and he would say the best thing that he does every day is tie his shoes and open the front door. And Sue and I really want to say that the use of assistive devices is only to ease what you need to do so that you can do all the things that you want to do, and perhaps even enjoy activities like cooking, preparing nutrition for yourself and your family a whole lot more.
It's really hard to think that with pain, often people lose a lot, and over time what they're able to do becomes less and less, so then we get focused on the priority things. Using assistive devices shouldn't be seen as a step backwards. It should hopefully be seen as a way that you can get those things that have to get done every day, like getting dressed, have them happen easier with less pain, which will then allow you to do the things that you really want to get through in the day. And I love the question, how are you going to look after yourself? Be kind, be gentle to yourself, nurture yourself, and choose to do that on a daily basis, and that can really help to move you forward.
And yeah, lift your self-esteem and your self-worth.